So this is something that you won't hear a lot about, and I'm just going to preface this story with that. Hey, what's the Latino vote thinking about? Don't hear a lot about that on mainstream news, and then we're going to get into a little idea of why that might be. So Bernie Sanders' camp sees Latino voters as key in victory. Bernie Sanders is aggressively pursuing Latino voters as his camp believes this could bring in decisive votes needed ahead of the Democratic primaries. Sanders is no stranger to Latinos. In fact, they call him Tio Bernie because they see the senator as uncle or friend, as the New York Times reported. Early survey results show Tio Bernie has an edge over former Vice President Joseph Biden. The Public Policy Institute of California poll revealed that 39% of Latinos based in California, which is a very big state coming up much sooner in this primary, they're in favor, 39% compared to only 29% from Joe Biden. And they are putting a lot of time and effort into this, into talking with Latinos. You know what's crazy? Like there's a lot of campaigns that'll put out like Latino pamphlets, but they won't make it in Spanish. But that's a separate note.
That's interesting.
Sanders is actually translating it, not through Google Translate. There is no doubt the Latinx community and young voters will deliver Bernie Sanders' victory in the California primary. State director of Sanders' camp in California confessed. For now, Tio Bernie and his promise of Medicare for All continues to resonate among minorities and minimum wage earners. And so I wanted to bring this up to you guys. So we always hear because Joe Biden needs the vote, or he talks about the vote as if it's his, that African Americans, that vote's super important, and it is, and all those things. We're not disagreeing with that. But the point I'm trying to make is Latinos make up a bigger portion of America, and many of them are voting and are starting to get activated. And Bernie Sanders, more or less, has them locked down in a similar way people say Joe Biden has African American support locked down. But we don't hear about Latino voting all that often. And my point with this, and I think this article goes into, is that they don't talk about it because if they talked about it, they would have to say Bernie Sanders is leading by double digits with this. Or maybe as Wolf Blitzer would say, Bernie Sanders plummets to first place, double that of the second and third place people, guys.
Yeah. They just can't talk about wins for the Bernie campaign. Anything that makes his campaign look good is sort of antithetical to their bottom line, right? This is a campaign that they just cannot see succeed. The deep ties to, higher ups at the DNC are well known. The DNC's antipathy toward Bernie is well known. I don't expect them to ever highlight a win that Bernie Sanders has unless they're forced to, right?
Okay.
If they're forced to acknowledge something because there is so much outcry about how great this is, like, hey, boy, we can't really ignore 33,000 people in and around a park in New York. We just can't. That's unavoidable. That has to be addressed. But hey, the polling says that he's winning with this particular demographic that we're otherwise supposed to be the ones that are the one, like Julian Castro, man, he's got to be the one winning the Hispanic vote, right?
No, that's never going to be
the
the case. It's never going to be the case because here's the issue. Corporate media, especially in 2016, they shot themselves in the foot. They made it their job to destroy progressives and independents. And when Bernie Sanders was running against the quote-unquote anointed one, Hillary Clinton, they decided to go all in with the neoliberal establishment. Now, of course, we know this as a fact that they're with the Democratic establishment and Republican establishment. But as soon as somebody like Bernie Sanders steps into the race and actually starts getting in voters and building a coalition, the likes of which everyone in the DNC and RNC establishment would want, hell, they're foaming at the mouth. They wish they could be as authentic as Bernie Sanders, but they can't be. And so corporate media will do what's designed to do, and that's cover up any kind of positive news about Bernie Sanders, especially about bringing in Latinos into his coalition, because Bernie Sanders has what it takes, and sadly, all the other candidates don't.